Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. So again, welcome to our subject, Intermediate Accounting. And for today, we are about to discuss inventories. And for this presentation, we will be discussing the inclusions as well as the exclusions in our inventory. Okay, so let's first start by defining what inventories are. Okay, so inventories was actually governed by IAS number 2. Okay, entitled inventories. And this standard defines inventories as one, okay, it is held for sale in the ordinary course of business. So as you all know that when we talk about inventories, whether it is in merchandising, okay, or even in manufacturing, so we will be able to encounter no assets that are part or held for sale in the ordinary course of business. And for merchandising, that is known as merchandise inventory, while for your manufacturing, it is known as finished goods. So this is the first part of the definition under IS number 2, okay, held for sale. Another would be it is in the process of production for such sale. So in the case of manufacturing businesses, okay, so there are inventories na hindi pa po natatapos yung processing. Okay, so they are still in progress and they are still part already of our inventories. And we know it as your work in progress inventory or goods in progress inventory or in progress inventory. Okay, so I hope na you have already encountered this in your cost accounting, di ba? Yung work in progress na yan. And lastly, no, as part of the definition, these inventories are assets in the form of materials or even supplies to be consumed in the production process or in rendering of services. So typical po ito in our manufacturing, di ba? Wherein, of course, one of the components of our merchandise, one of our components in the manufacturing goods or manufacturing of goods would be the materials used or the raw materials to be used, okay, and then process it further para maging work in progress, diba, inventory, and then pag natapos na maging finished goods. Okay, so these are the parts of the definition of inventories. Okay, so it's a threefold definition. Okay, it's held for sale, in the process of production, or even it's in the form of materials or even supplies. Okay, so that's what inventories are. Now, before we proceed with what will be the inclusion and exclusion for these inventories, okay, let's just have first a quick recap about operating cycle. Okay, so because inventory is part of this operating cycle, as you all know, for merchandising businesses as well as for manufacturing ones. Okay, so for merchandising businesses, here is our operating cycle. So we have started with cash, as you all know, which is used to purchase, okay, our merchandise inventories kasi sa merchandising, 'di ba? It's where we purchase goods and then resell them. Okay? So ayun, bibili po tayo ng inventory and then afterwards we sell it either directly to cash or even it's on account. Kung on account po siya, then it will undergo our normal receivables, which we have already discussed previously in the receivable topic, and then we will collect it, and then afterwards, no, after collecting, it will become cash again that can be used to purchase inventories again. Okay, so this is the merchandising business operating cycle. By the way, to remind you, operating cycle is the time wherein we have the cash to acquire no merchandise or even mamaya in terms of manufacturing used to purchase our materials, no, and use them in the process and then converting it again into cash. Okay, so let's talk about naman the manufacturing business operating cycle. So again, we start with what we have as cash and then we purchase naman raw materials. Unlike with the merchandising business that we purchased already the goods that are already finished or ready to sell, dito po sa manufacturing, we purchase first the raw materials. And remember, this is one of the definition of inventory, di ba? Materials and supplies used in the production. And then we will undergo the production process, and then we will now have, okay, the unfinished goods yet now, which are known as work in progress inventory. So this is the second type of our inventory kanina. Okay, and then once we process it further, okay, it will now become finished goods. Okay, so the finished goods will be sold, and then if it is on account, then it will undergo the receivables. Okay, and then after collecting, we will have the cash again. Okay, so that's the operating cycle for manufacturing businesses. Okay, so are we clear on this, guys? Okay, again, if you have questions, please let me know on our respective chat boxes, or even key in your questions on the comment portion of this video. Okay, sige po. So let's continue. So after defining what inventories are and the operating cycle, no, of whether merchandising or manufacturing, let's now proceed with how does IAS number 2, no, record this inventory. Okay, so in IAS number 2, okay, inventories should be recorded at costs. Okay, at costs po, no? Unlike with the other types of assets, wherein they are also recorded at cost na i-discuss natin, just like PPE. Okay, somehow others would be at fair values naman. Okay, but inventories should be recorded at costs. So for this video presentation later, we will be discussing what would be the component of the costs of this inventory to be recorded initially. Okay, and then subsequently naman po, after the initial recognition, okay, our inventories should be recorded at the lower of costs and net realizable value. Okay, so this concept of lower of cost and net realizable value will be discussed in a separate video, no, about the subsequent recognitions for inventory. Okay, so our focus this time is the recording of the inventories at costs. Okay, are we clear on that? So now let's start defining what comprises, okay, the costs of our inventory. Okay, so the cost of the inventory depends upon the mode of acquisition of these inventories. 'Di ba? Kanina in merchandising, we purchase it already, 'di ba? And then resell na lang. Samantalang sa manufacturing, even though we purchase it, no, for the raw materials, it will undergo processing. Okay? So we will tackle those here in the inclusions for our costs. So let's start first with the concept in merchandising, wherein we purchase our merchandise. Okay? So let's talk about the cost of purchasing our merchandise. Okay, so our costs will be comprised of course, first, the purchase price. Okay, our purchase price of inventories depends upon some certain considerations, no? Just like whenever we have trade discounts, o kaya naman meron po tayong rebates and other similar items that we need to deduct from this purchase price. Okay, so in your basic accounting and even what we have discussed in receivables previously, di ba, we have yung tinatawag natin, we start with what we so-called list price. Okay, list price is known as our catalog price, or that's also our tag price, di ba? So sometimes, no, our seller, okay, tayo ay nasa perspective po ng buyer, take note of that. Our seller will give us some sort of trade discounts. As you all know, trade discounts are not accounted for separately. So the trade discounts needs to be deducted immediately at the date of purchasing, okay, to arrive at what we so-called invoice price. Okay, so invoice price, or our gross invoice price. So this invoice price should be our starting point as the purchase price. Take note, trade discounts, rebates, and other similar items needs to be deducted immediately on that cost of purchase. Okay, so are we clear on that, guys? So we start with the invoice price. I hope na hindi nyo pa nakakalimutan how to deduct the trade discounts, diba? So let's say, for example, your list price is 100,000. Okay, and then you are given, let's say for example, 5% trade discount. So ang gagawin na lang natin, shortcut, is times 95%, which is actually 100% less the 5% the trade discount, di ba? To arrive at our invoice price of 95,000. Okay, so are we clear on this, guys? All right. So iba pa po yung usapan natin with the cash discounts, ha, because trade discounts are more on volume discount or even relationship discount, as we have discussed in receivables, while the cash discounts is the urgency, no, with regards to the payment of our payables. Okay? So ayun po, that's the first component of our cost, no? Whenever lang naman merong trade discounts. Pero kung wala naman kayo makikita in the problem na trade discounts, then most likely the lease price or the invoice price, whatever is given, is automatically be the cost of your inventory. Okay? So are we clear on that? Next component of the purchase price natin or the cost of purchasing are somehow import duties or other taxes. Okay? So if ever man your inventories will come from, let's say, for example, other countries, no? The buyer will pay some sort, or even the seller, okay, depending on the agreement, will pay for import duties. Now, of course, in terms of purchasing, we will be recording it if we are the one who have paid for it. No? So any import duties that you have paid will be added to the cost of your purchasing, and some sort of other taxes pa, no, that are required for that inventory, no, to be kumbaga delivered in place, or even to put it in the buyer's place. Okay, and take note, guys, that these taxes should be other than those subsequently recoverable by the entity from taxing authorities. Ano po ba itong subsequently recoverable? Okay, so let us put this in the context of VAT. Kasi 'di ba, VAT or value added tax is considered as a tax, no? Na sinasama of course sa invoice price natin. Now, it is recoverable as you have discussed in your basic accounting, di ba? If this is a VAT company, okay? If you are a VAT registered company and you are allowed to claim the VAT, di ba? So pag claim nyo kasi yung VAT na yon, that will be known as input tax or input VAT, di ba? At yung input tax na yon will be deducted from yung tinatawag naman natin na output tax, di ba? Okay, output tax. Ngayon, if your company is a VAT registered company and then you are allowed to claim it for deductions, then of course what you're going to do is you need to deduct the VAT. Kaya ang ginagawa po natin, if the invoice price is inclusive of VAT, okay, pag sinabi sa problem, inclusive of VAT, okay, and then the company can claim for it, no? Vatable po siya. Vatable company siya. Then we need to divide this invoice price, okay, by 1.12 para makuha natin yung amount ng ating invoice price without VAT. Okay, sir, bakit natin natanggal yung VAT? Kasi remember, it should not include any recoverable taxes, no? So yung VAT kasi, if it is inclusive in the invoice price, of course, it should be accounted for separately. Okay? So bigyan ko kayo ng example. Halimbawa, given in your problem, let me just erase this. Okay? If you have questions, guys, please let me know on our respective chat boxes. Ha? Okay? So let's say, for example, okay, let's say ito na, invoice price natin is, let's say, for example, 112,000. Okay, 112,000 para mas madali, di ba? So, let's say for example, we, the purchasing company, no, who will have to record the inventory, okay, is a VAT registered company. Okay? So, we are allowed to claim any input tax. And this 112,000 is already inclusive of VAT. Okay? So inclusive of VAT siya. So what we need to do is to divide this by 1.12 kasi kasama na daw po yung VAT doon. So the 1.12 come from yung ating 100% plus the 12% VAT because currently now in our tax law, VAT is 12% of the price, no, without VAT. Now, if we divide it, no, we will get what? 100,000. So this 100,000 is the amount without VAT. Okay? So it means na kung 100,000 yung without VAT, the 12,000 represents what? The VAT, di ba? Okay? So pag inentryhan mo yan, okay, assuming that you know already the periodic and perpetual, so let's assume periodic inventory system. So you will debit purchases. Okay? Purchases at 100,000. Okay? Kung perpetual ka, you will be debiting merchandise inventory at 100,000. And then you will be debiting input tax or input VAT, no? Okay, amounting to 12,000 and then you credit, let's say you have paid it for cash, credit cash, 112,000. So kaya po sinisegregate yan because again, we can claim for it as an input tax. Okay? If you are a VAT registered company and you are allowed to claim it for VAT. Okay? And usually naman, pag VAT registered, no, somehow, may mga premises yan in taxation, but usually, no, they are claiming it for input tax. Okay? So are we clear on that, guys? So kaya take note that if there is a VAT, no, you need to reduce or deduct it from the purchase price natin, okay, to arrive at our amount without the VAT since it should be presented separately. Sir, paano yan kung sa problem hindi sinabi whether VAT or non-VAT yung company and then hindi rin sinabi whether that particular amount is inclusive of VAT? So, of course, our great assumption is non-VAT yung company unless stated, okay? Non-VAT, okay? Also, sir, paano yung amount kapag hindi po sinabi whether inclusive na siya ng VAT or hindi, no? Tignan mo, ano bang sinabi? Invoice price. Ano ba yung typical na invoice price? Pag namili ka, let's say, for SM, no? Or even in other companies, issuing receipt. Di ba? Inclusive na yun ng VAT. Okay? Take note lang din as well that even though it is non-VAT, okay? Pag non-VAT yun, yung company na yon tapos nagbayad siya ng VAT, okay, you need not to deduct, no, yung VAT na po. So pag non-VAT, okay, no need for deducting the VAT. Bakit? Kasi hindi niya naman po ma-recover yung amount ng VAT na yon. Kaya it is enough for us to say na since hindi niya recoverable yon for a non-VAT company, then it will still be part of the cost of purchase. So make sure that you check whatever type of company whenever may VAT or non-VAT doon kasi it is in the VAT registered company where you need to separate and segregate your input tax. Okay? So are we clear on that? All right, very good. So again, if you have questions, please let me know on our respective chat boxes. Okay? So also, no, for our cost of purchase, sometimes there will be transportation cost or handling fees or other costs that you need to pay as the buyer, no, which is directly attributable in acquiring your finished goods or merchandise inventory, even materials as well as services. So if that's the case, no, that will also be included in our cost of purchases. Mamaya, we will be discussing about dun sa amount to be paid in terms of transportation dun sa goods in transit. Okay, so abangan nyo yan doon who pays the freight. And if we, the buyer, needs to pay the freight, then it will be added doon sa cost of our purchase. Remember, in your basic accounting, that's known as freight in, di ba? For periodic inventory system, but in perpetual, we add it in our merchandise inventory for the transportation. Okay, so are we clear on that? All right, very good. Okay, so in terms of cost of purchase, no, in addition to what we have discussed already, okay, so we have cash discounts, nabanggit ko po kanina sa inyo. Now, in accounting for cash discount, it depends upon, no, whatever method naman yung gagamitin nyo in accounting for the merchandise inventories. Okay, so but before we proceed on those methods, okay, take note na just in case man po that you are using periodic inventory system and you have availed yung cash discount po natin, then again, cash discount po is an amount of discount given to the buyer whenever he or she pays within the discount period. Okay? So, i-record natin siya if it is in periodic, no, under purchase discount account, while in merchandise in perpetual inventory system, we put it under merchandise inventory. Okay, so going back, the use of purchase discount account in our periodic inventory system indicates that your purchases as well as accounts payable is recorded at gross amount, diba? So kasi ang purchase discount ay nire-record lang kapag meron po tayong what? Meron po tayong na-avail na discount or we pay within the discount period. So at initial recording, okay, when you have purchase discounts at gross amount, then we will be recording our merchandise inventory or even the purchases account, no, at the gross invoice price. Okay, yung kanina, di ba? The gross invoice price is equal doon sa ating list price less our what? trade discounts. Okay, so again, we have two methods. No, we have the gross method, wherein we record our initially our inventory or even purchases at gross invoice price, as mentioned to you a while ago, and then afterwards, once we pay for discounts or we pay within the discount period, then we can avail the purchase discount, and that will act as a deduction from our purchases account, diba? So yun lang yun. Pag gross method, you record it as gross invoice price. No need for you to deduct anything except for the trade discounts. Okay? While if you're going to use the net method, okay, you need to consider that your initial recognition for the purchases or inventory should be what? Net of any cash discount. Net of cash discount. Okay? So let me give you an example. Okay, so let's say for example, no, you have purchased merchandise, okay, with a gross invoice price. Okay, ako na po magbibigay ng gross invoice price. Let's say for example, your gross invoice price is 100,000, and if no, the customer, of course, you know the trade terms, diba? To over 10 and over 30, for example. So, ang ibig sabihin yan, di ba? 2% discount will be given if the company paid within 10 days, and it could be paid up to 30 days. Okay? So, for the gross method, okay, under the gross method, okay, your inventory will be recorded. Okay, debit tayo. Let's say periodic yan. Debit tayo ng purchases. Okay, debit tayo ng purchases, 100,000 kasi yun yung gross invoice price, and credit po tayo ng accounts payable. Okay, 100,000. And then if we have paid it within the discount period, then dun lang po kapag nagbayad tayo within the discount period, then we can record it, debit tayo ng accounts payable, di ba? 100,000. And then credit tayo ng cash, 98,000 na lang kasi bawas na yung discount. Okay, and then we credit yung sinabi kanina na purchase, what? Discount na 2,000. Okay, so separate po yung recording ng ating purchase discount if we use the gross method. Okay, while if it is net method, automatically po na we will be recording it at net amount. So yung 100,000 na gross invoice price, inineto mo na siya with the 2% discount. So your entry is debit purchases. Okay, your purchases will now be recorded at 98,000. Okay, kasi less of 2% discount, and you credit accounts payable 98,000. Okay? So pag nagbayad tayo within the discount period under the net method, okay, madali na lang. Debit ka ng accounts payable and credit ka na lang ng cash since you have already initially deducted the cash discount. While just in case man po na hindi ka magbayad within the discount period, so doon po sinasabi kanina that we will be accounting it for as purchase discount loss. So you will be debiting accounts payable, okay, 98,000, and then you debit purchase discounts loss kasi finorgo mo yung trade term natin na 10 days for the cash discount. Okay, so meron po tayong hindi pala 200 yun, 2,000 pala yung purchase discount kanina, sorry. So the purchase discount loss would be 2,000, and then we credit the cash at 100,000. Okay? So this is just like the same with the gross method and net method under receivables. Okay? So are we clear on this, guys? So, pero pag wala naman po tayong cash discounts, you need not to worry about it, no? Because wala naman tayong i-deduct na any cash discount. Just in case lang po, no, na sinabi that we are reporting under net amount. Okay? So, are we clear on that, guys? Right? Very good. So, these are the components of the costs of once we purchase a merchandise inventory. Okay, so are we clear on that? So we have the purchase price less any trade discounts plus any import duties, no, and other taxes, except for, of course, for those na refundable or even recoverable, and then some sort of transport and handling fee. And then we have discussed here in this slide, no, that cash discounts whenever we have net method will be deducted initially from the amount na of our purchases. Okay, so that's for the merchandise inventory costs. Okay, now let's proceed naman po. What if our goods or inventories are in the manufacturing part? Kasi ito medyo, itong unang part natin is more on merchandising. Okay, so how about for manufacturing? So now let's talk about, no, of course, we have yung ating tinatawag na, okay, so in manufacturing, aside from the raw materials used in the production, we have also the cost of conversion. Okay, so in terms of cost of conversion na na-discuss nyo rin po in your cost accounting, these are the costs that are related to the units of production natin, such as your direct labor and overhead. Of course, hindi makukumpleto yung sa manufacturing inventories natin ha kung wala po yung raw materials used, di ba? Raw materials used plus the direct labor plus the overhead, or you call it as factory overhead or manufacturing overhead. This is known as your what? Total goods manufactured. Di ba? Total goods manufactured nga ba yan? Mali. No? It's total manufacturing costs. Okay? Total manufacturing costs. Okay? So total manufacturing cost. So this direct labor and overhead, okay, will act as your what? Conversion cost. So dito tayo ito yung di-discuss natin kasi yung raw materials, it's somehow similar doon sa merchandising part na na-discuss natin kanina, that whenever there are trade discounts or even whenever there are cash discounts, no, depending upon the method used by the entity, then ganun din po i-apply natin. Now, for the direct labor, of course, whatever is the actual cost of the direct labor used in the production, then that will be added. Okay, so one of the challenges in terms of the cost of conversion is yung sa overhead po natin. Okay, so this overhead, okay, will be inclusive of the systematic allocation of some sort of fixed and variable production overheads, okay, which is incurred in converting our materials into finished goods. Okay, so pag sinabi po nating fixed production overhead, so these are indirect costs of production which remains relatively constant regardless of volume. Okay, so ito po yung in totality constant amount, no, ng ating production overhead. Okay, ano ba yung mga possible na fixed production overhead natin? Pwede pong depreciation, okay, and even maintenance of the factory building. Basta related po siya sa production, di ba? Kasi pag it's related to office, then that's not already your manufacturing overhead. Okay, so this fixed production costs, again, is relatively constant in totality, okay, but it may differ per unit, di ba? Ganun yung diniscuss niya sa cost accounting. On the other hand, we have also the variable production overheads na kung saan they may vary, no, directly on the basis, okay, of this production overheads. Example would be the volume of production, no, such as yung ating mga indirect materials and also indirect labor. Okay, so in terms of fixed production and variable overheads, no, we need to allocate them properly. And in accordance with IAS number 2, okay, there are specific ways how do we allocate this, no? In your cost accounting, maybe if you are already finished with this discussion, there are various, no, ways how to allocate your factory overhead. But in this IAS number 2, ang sabi po, okay, you are going to allocate your fixed production overhead using the normal capacity, okay, of your production facilities. Okay, so the normal capacity will be depending upon the company's, no, normal capacity. Kasi in your cost accounting, there are somehow standard capacity, budgeted capacity, di ba? May mga ganong capacity there. But in the IAS number 2, it states there that it should be based on our normal capacity. Okay? And then for our variable production overheads naman, okay, we will allocate it based on the actual usage in our production facilities. Okay? So are we clear on this, guys? Okay? So, I hope na nagets po natin to. Okay? So, that's all about our cost of conversion. That will also be part of our cost of inventories. Okay? So, again, if you have questions, please let me know on our respective chat boxes. Okay? So, there are also other costs, no, that will be considered, okay, in our inventory. Okay? We include as well costs that only to the extent that they are incurred in bringing the inventories to the present location and condition. So nabanggit na natin kanina yung transportation costs, di ba? Handling fees and other import duties, no? So they are other costs. And another would be example, no? It may be appropriate to include some non-production overheads or the cost of designing product of specific customers in the cost of inventory. So ito lang po, no, just in case na we are to manufacture products that are specific to customers and we are about to design it specifically for that customers, ang sabi po sa standard, no, it may be included as well in our cost of inventory. Take note, it's for specific customers. Kapag ito po ay for general, no, usage, so halimbawa, general production, then it's not already part of your cost of inventory. Okay? Are we clear on that? Okay? So sometimes then, our inventories may come from harvested agricultural produce. So let's talk about this inventory, no, harvested agricultural produce. So sometimes, no, let's say for example, you have plantation, okay? So let's say you have a mango plantation na yung mangga, okay, the drawing po ako ng mangga, okay, may prutas. Okay, so mangga yan, ha? Mangga. Okay, so we will be discussing that this mango bearing the fruit is known as bearer plant. Okay, in a plantation, no, this mango is considered as a bearer plant because it produces, no, the agricultural produce. Now, yung bearer plant po na yan, we will be discussing that under IAS number 16 because it is classified under property, plant, and equipment. Okay? Yung mga mangga na nakakabit pa po doon sa ating puno ng mangga, okay, they will be agricultural produce yet not harvested. Okay, they will be accounted for, no, as biological asset. Okay, kasi biological assets are living plants and animals and they are accounted for under the agricultural produce, no, in our discussion of the biological assets in not necessarily na biological asset tong prutas na to. This is an agricultural produce that we will be discussing in our discussion of biological assets next chapter. Okay? While yung ano naman po kapag na-harvest na yung mangga, okay? So let's say ito, no, mga mangga. Pangit ko mag-drawing, sorry. So ayan, let's say yan po yung mangga na na-harvest na po natin. So this is already the harvested agricultural produce and this is known now as our inventory kasi ibibenta natin yan if you are intending to sell it since you are in the plantation. Okay? So inventory po natin yung agricultural produce na yon. Okay? And as discussed and to be discussed also in IAS number 41, no, agriculture. Now this particular harvested agricultural produce should be measured, okay, at fair value less cost to sell at the point of harvest. Okay, so tandaan nyo muna yan. No? We will be discussing further the fair value less cost to sell in our discussion of the chapter for biological assets. But again, no, fair value is the market value of this particular product less any cost to dispose or cost to sell po natin. And that will be the costs of our inventory coming from the harvested agricultural produce. Okay? So are we clear on that, guys? Any questions or clarifications? Okay? So if there's none, that's the typical inclusions, no, whether you purchase it, okay, you manufacture it, or even it's based on agricultural produce. Okay? So now, na-discuss po natin yung mga inclusions, okay, in the costs. Now let's talk about naman po exclusions. So in accordance with IAS number 2, there are some items that we need to take into account, no, as expense, no, and they will be excluded on the costs of our inventories. Okay, so let's talk about now ano po yung mga exclusions na i-charge po natin as expense. Okay, the first of which would be abnormal amounts of waste, materials, labor, and production costs. Okay, so in your cost accounting, you may have discussed abnormal losses, diba? Wherein we have wasted some materials in the production or even labor kasi nagre-rework po tayo that is not necessarily kasi may nangyari po na avoidable naman. Okay, so any abnormal amounts should be charged as expense. Okay, yung normal kasi na losses or normal amounts can be part of the cost, but any abnormal amounts should be charged as expense. Okay, let's say for example, no, ano yung possibility in terms of production of shirts. Let's say for example, okay? So, let's say for example, no, nag-cut kayo tapos nasira yung pagkakakat, you cannot be able to use it already in production process, then ayun, charge na sa expense yung wasted material na yun. Okay? Also, charge as expense would be storage costs, okay, or warehousing costs, okay, unless they are necessary in the production process before further production stage. Okay, so let's say for example, no, you have storing your products after you have already manufactured it. Okay, let's say for example, you have a finished goods already, no, that are already to be sold, but since they are not yet sold, it is stored in a warehouse. Okay, let's say you have finished goods inventory. Okay, so since ang sabi dito, okay, storage cost in general, pero kapag ito po ay necessary in the production process, then they will be part of cost. Okay, ito ano to, exception to, itong unless na to, kasi it will be part of the costs. Pero kapag not part of the production process, kagaya nito, ni storage na lang yung finished goods ninyo, then that will be charged as expense. Okay? So yung mga possible na pwedeng maging costs of the inventory is, let's say for example, no, bago mo i-process further yung product na yun, kailangan mong, let's say for example, yung parmesan, hindi pala parmesan yun, let's say you have a cheese, no? I forgot the name of the cheese. Bakit yun ba in example ko? Okay, so we have yung cheese, for example, that you need to store for so many months, or even wine, di ba, na kailangan mong store kasi it's part of the process. So that could be considered as part of your costs of the inventory. Pero kung tapos na yung product and it's ready for selling already, okay, then that would be part of your expense. Okay, are we clear on that? Okay. Another would be administrative overheads. So kanina in the conversion cost, we talk about overheads, but it should be in line with the production, or they are known as manufacturing or production overheads, no? Ito po, administrative overheads, which are in the office or even mga back or other processes than the production, and they do not contribute in bringing that inventory on what is it now. Okay, then that will be part as expense. Okay? So pwede po yung security guard, 'di ba? Ano pa? Yung mga selling ano natin, selling expenses, even ano pa yung administrative natin. Pwede po yung mga accountants salaries, no? They are considered as expense already. Okay? Then also selling costs such as transportation expense paid by the seller and advertising fees. Okay, so as you all know, selling expenses are charged immediately as expense and they will not be part of the cost of inventories. No? Yung freight out or transportation out, okay, mamaya we will be mentioning that in our discussion for goods in transit. No? But again, freight out or transportation out or transportation expense should be charged as expense, and even advertising the products. Okay, kasi they do not form part of producing or bringing that inventory in its current location. Okay, and then finally, based on IAS number 2, no, the interest components, no, whenever that you are going to borrow money, let's say for example, to purchase inventory, okay, mangungutang ka, tapos mag-i-interest yung pera, okay, na inutang mo, it will not be capitalized, okay, but rather it will be charged as interest expense. Okay? Are we clear on that? So these are somehow the exclusions based on IAS number 2. Okay? So again, if you have questions, please let me know lang po on our respective chat boxes. Okay? So now, let's talk about some other matters no, related to the inclusions and exclusions of inventories natin. Okay? So we're done with the um, cost natin initially, but somehow there are also other considerations na nabanggit ko rin po kanina, no? That may be possibly included in our inventories. Okay, so let's start with goods on consignment. Okay, so when we talk about goods on consignment, it is where the goods no, that we have are physically transferred to another company, okay, the consignee, but the transferor, the consignor, retains the legal title. So in Tagalog, ito pong goods on consignment is ito po yung proseso ng pagpapabenta. Okay? So halimbawa, tayo po si seller, okay, tayo po yung may title doon sa inventory, meron tayong product na gusto nating ipabenta sa other party, no? The other party is consignee. Okay? Siya po yung kino-commission natin na magbenta ng product natin on our behalf, which tayo naman po si consignor. Okay? So clear po ba tayo doon? Kasi usong-uso yan, di ba? Yung mga nagpapabenta, lalo na kung ano naman yung other companies, no, magaling siyang magbenta. Okay? So babayaran na lang natin ng commission si consignee for the product that they sold, okay, in our behalf. Okay? So sometimes, no, we will be confused, but take note that you need to check kung anong perspective tayo. Okay, importante yung pagtingin mo sa perspective kung sino ba tayo in this consignment sales or consigned goods. Okay, are we the consignee? Okay, again, the consignee is the entity who receives no the goods. Okay, siya po yung nagre-receive ng good, and then ang gagawin niya nung na-receive niya yung goods, it will sell that goods no in behalf of the consignor who is either the manufacturer or siya po yung original na owner nung ating inventory. Okay? So tignan nyo maigi ha. So there would be clue words na magsasabi sa inyo no kung si consignee ka or consignor. Mamaya we'll try to have that in our example kasi may mga examples din tayo so that you will know no what is our perspective. Okay? Pero ayun, makikita nyo naman pag sinabing we receive, okay, we held it on consignment, okay, so tayo si consignee. Pero pag held out on consignment or even delivered, then tayo si consignor. Okay? Then, if the consignee no, can't find the buyer. So let's say for example at the end of the reporting period or some period of time depending upon their agreement no, hindi po nabenta ni consignee yung product, then sabi po the goods are returned to the consignor. Okay? So ibabalik po yun kay consignor or in some cases no, it will be continually to be sold by the consignee until such time na makahanap siya ng buyer. Okay? Then take note that if a buyer is found, then nabenta na yung product, di ba? Kasi nakapaghanap na tayo ng appropriate buyer for that product, then the consignee remits the selling price less any commission and approved expenses no to the consignor. Okay, so i-remit niya. Of course, tatanggalin niya na yung commission. Depende yun sa usapan nila ha, at saka mga some approved expenses no, to the consignor. Okay, now, ang question dyan is, just in case na meron po tayong inventory na goods on consignment. Now, who owns the goods? Sino po yung nagmamay-ari? Halimbawa, at the end of the reporting period, December 31, 2021, or 2020 rather, no? Hindi pa rin nabibenta yung product. Okay? Naka-consignee yung possession ng product, of course. Who owns the goods? Okay? Of course, the answer would be, it should be the consignor. Okay? Dapat si consignor pa rin po yung magre-record ng inventory. Kasi siya po yung nagre-remain ng legal title nun since pinapabenta niya lang po yun kay consignee. Okay? So just in case po na sinabi sa problem na sinama ni consignee yung inventory na yon sa kanyang inventory, then you need to exclude it. Okay, tanggalin mo yon sa consignee. Eh pag hindi rin naman sinama ni consignor, then isama mo kay consignor kasi he or she or the entity itself owns the legal title of that inventory. Okay? So are we clear on that, guys, in the concept of the goods on consignment? Yes, yes or yes? All right, very good. So I hope that you are still alive. Okay, so gising-gising, guys. Okay, so any questions or clarifications, please let me know on our respective chat boxes. Okay, so guys, so that's the first part of the physical units to be included in the inventory. Okay, whenever there are consigned goods, it should be recorded by the consignor. Okay. Another would be, let's talk about goods in transit. Okay? So, I know na lahat naman halos kayo, no, in your basic accounting, you have already discussed about this goods in transit. But let us just be reminded about this goods in transit. Okay? So, there are sometimes goods, no, that we, the buyer, purchased, okay, in other places, no? Halimbawa, nasa probinsya ka, galing sa Manila, or even in coming from other country, di ba? So we have shipping terms. And as you all know, in shipping terms, no, it depends upon what type of shipping terms natin, okay, so that we could record the inventory. Okay, so again, let me introduce to you the terms, no, shipping terms natin that we have already discussed in basic accounting, okay, such as your FOB, or the free on board shipping point, okay, or also known as the FOB seller. Okay, FOB seller or FOB shipping point, they are the same. So under this particular shipping term, okay, so the buyer needs to shoulder the shipping costs. Okay, alam na alam niyo yan. Dapat yung buyer, since tayo in the perspective of inventory, okay, would be a buyer, then the shipping cost will be paid by the buyer. And kanina, di ba, in our introduction for inventories, okay, we have said that transportation costs would be part of the costs of our inventory being purchased. So if such the case na tayo si buyer at tayo po ay under FOB shipping point and we are required to pay the freight, then it will be our freight in or transportation in to be added to the cost of our inventory. Okay? So as you all know then that under this shipping terms, no, the ownership of the goods, so pag may inventory po in transit, okay, the goods and the ownership of it, okay, passes already to the buyer whenever the inventory leaves the seller place. Kaya nga po siya FOB shipping point. At the time of shipment, it is already owned by the buyer. Okay? So the buyer already owns the goods while it is in transit. Okay? Are we clear on that? So pag may sinabi sa problem na hindi sanama yung inventory under FOB shipping point, anong gagawin? Of course, isasama natin. Okay? And then how about the freight? Of course, we will also include the freight since we are the buyer who needs to pay the freight. Okay? Also, take note guys ha, tignan ninyo maigi yung problem kung anong perspective kayo. Kayo ba si buyer or kayo si seller? Kasi it will also matter dito, no? Kapag seller naman perspective yung tinatanong, if we sold it under FOB shipping point, dapat you already record the sales at the time pa lang na umalis sa'yo yung product. And of course, the inventory should not be recorded na lang sa'yo kasi it should be recorded na po sa buyer. Okay? Another would be the FOB destination or the FOB buyer. Okay? So, in this case, no, the seller bears the shipping costs. So, yung seller yung nag-shipping cost, nagbabayad ng shipping cost, and that will be part of your delivery expense. Kanina in our exclusions for the costs of inventories, diba, chargeable to expense yung any transportation costs, okay, that paid by the seller. Okay, so ayun po, if you are the seller, then shipping cost mo, delivery expense po yun. Okay? Then, the title will pass once the goods are received by the buyer po. So kung tayo po yung buyer's perspective, then FOB destination na nasa goods in transit pa po will not be part of our inventory. Okay? Are we clear on that? It should be owned by whom? The seller. Okay? So again, make sure na tignan nyo po yung perspective ha, with regards to this goods in transit. Okay? So in addition to this concept of goods in transit, let me just remind you again about freight prepaid. and freight collect, no? So if ever that we will encounter freight prepaid, it means that yung seller po natin, okay, will pay for the transportation costs before shipping the goods. Kasi mamaya there would be combinations for freight prepaid, freight collect, okay, and the FOB shipping point and destination na diniscuss natin in the previous slide. Okay, so tandaan ninyo that when we have a freight prepaid, si seller po muna yung nagbabayad ng transportation cost. So kumbaga parang siya muna yung nag-aabono no, nung shipping costs ng products na yon. But if it is freight collect, okay, so ang sabi po dito, yung freight company, yung nagdi-deliver, okay, needs to collect the freight costs from the buyer. So si buyer naman po yung nagbabayad ng freight na yon. Ngayon, depending upon the combination of it with the previous discussion in the goods in transit, the FOB shipping point and FOB destination in the previous slide, okay, who should shoulder the cost of transportation and who will pay the shipper and who owns the goods in transit. So let's summarize the combinations, no, using this table. Okay, so let's start with FOB destination. Sabi natin, who owns the goods? It should be the seller. Okay, and freight prepaid. Okay, so sa FOB destination, sabi natin kanina, ang dapat na mag-shoulder ng transportation cost ay si seller. Tama ho ba? And then since this is freight prepaid, ang nagbabayad po ng shipper is si seller din. So siya yung dapat na magbayad at siya rin yung nag-aabono, so wala tayong problema, di ba? So who owns the goods in transit? Since it is FOB destination, then it should be the seller. Okay? And then FOB destination naman po, freight collect. So since FOB destination, so the seller is required to pay the freight. Pero dahil freight collect yon, sabi natin kanina, ang nag-abono po muna ay si buyer. Okay? So ito pong part na to na nag-abono muna si buyer and then si seller yung dapat magbayad, it will just be on the part of the payable and receivable, no? Kasi ibig sabihin yan, si buyer, kung may utang siya kay seller, kaltas utang na lang po yung binayad niya na freight since it is to be paid by the seller. Okay? Pero the ultimate goal natin dito sa inventory is to determine who owns the goods and still FOB destination yung determinant natin, so the seller still owns the goods in transit. Okay? Next would be FOB shipping point, freight prepaid. Okay? So under FOB shipping point, ang dapat pong magbayad ng shoulder ng freight natin is the buyer, di ba? But who pays the shipper under freight prepaid, si seller ang nagbayad. So ito po, parang mangyari lang dyan, additional utang na naman ni buyer yon kay seller kasi si seller yung nag-abono. Okay, but in terms of the inventories, the goods will be recorded and should be included in the buyer. Okay, and lastly, we have the FOB shipping point freight collect. Okay, so of course, FOB shipping point, the buyer needs to pay the freight, and then who pays the shipper under freight collect, it should be the buyer. So parang wala lang, no? Tamang-tama lang na si buyer talaga yung nagbayad. And who owns the goods in transit? Of course, it would be the buyer. Okay? So are we clear on this, guys? Any questions or clarifications? Again, please let me know on our respective chat boxes. Okay? So that's all about the goods in transit. Okay, so mamaya in our example, let's again find analysis regarding this, no? Dun sa mga various examples natin. Okay? Another thing that we need to consider is sometimes these inventories were being sold under a repurchase agreement. Okay? So ano po ba itong sales with repurchase agreement? So this approach is also known as product financing agreement. Okay? Wherein it usually involves the transfer or sale with either an implicit or explicit repurchase agreement. So pag sinabi po nating product financing, it is somehow using, no, the product as a collateral, okay, to alone. Parang ganito lang yan, no? We have the seller, okay? The seller, sige, bigay ko na lang itong example na to. So basahin natin, no? Dean Enterprises sells into Farm Incorporated. So ang seller natin ay si Dean, okay? And then si Farm, okay? Yung buyer. Okay? Simultaneously, okay, agrees to purchase this merchandise at a specified price over a specified period. Now, farm then uses the inventory as a collateral and borrows against it. Okay, so farm uses the loan proceeds to pay din, which repurchase the inventory in the future. So actually, ang repurchase agreement nila is between the seller at saka si farm. Okay? So sabi po dito, when the repurchase agreement exists, the seller should report the inventory. Okay? So even though sa tingin natin, binenta na ni seller yun kay buyer, okay? But in their agreement, there is a repurchase agreement. Pag sinabi kasing repurchase agreement, pwede pong bilhin ulit ni seller yung product na yun from the buyer, which is in this case, no, ganun po yung sinabi that Dean will repurchase the inventory in the future. Okay? So in that case, who owns the goods? Under repurchasing agreement, dahil sabi ko kanina, it's somehow parang product financing, okay, di ba si seller, binigay niya yung product kay buyer, no? And then the buyer in exchange pays the seller. So anong nangyari kapag may repurchase agreement, it is somehow using the inventory as a collateral. Kaya siya naging product financing. Collateral. Okay? Kinulateral niya lang para makakuha siya ng pera, and then pag may pera na siya, bibilihin niya rin pabalik yung inventory na yon. Now, the main question is in our discussion of inventories, who should record that inventory? Is this the buyer or is it the seller? The answer is Dean has retained the control of the asset, okay, and thus Dean still owns the asset. So meaning the seller will include it in the inventory, not the buyer. Basta make sure lang that there is a repurchase agreement. Kasi pag walang repurchase agreement, then it's already owned by the buyer. Okay? So are we clear on that, guys? So ginamit as a collateral yung inventory. Parang receivable financing lang, di ba? That we use the receivable as a collateral. Tayo pa rin po nagre-record ng receivable, di ba? While this case, no, repurchase agreement, we are still recording the product, no, that is subject to product financing or repurchase agreement. Okay? So are we clear on that? Questions or clarifications? All right. So thank you. So the next would be the concept naman about segregated goods. Okay, so sometimes special order goods, okay, are being manufactured according to customer specification and is considered as sold and therefore excluded from the seller's inventory. Okay? So parang ano lang yan. Halimbawa, ito yung mga products natin, di ba? Ito yung mga products natin. Tapos, let's say for example, you have already segregated one product, no, na in-specified, then kinostomize mo pa, no, for that customer. Okay, then ang sabi po dito, no, it is already considered as sold kasi it is attributed to a specific customer. So kapag sinabi sa problem later on na sinama pa yung segregated goods na yon, okay, or customer specified goods, okay, it should be excluded already. Okay? However, no, if the goods are customarily manufactured and constitutes stock items, okay, even if it is physically segregated, so kung hindi naman po to attributed to any specific customer, okay, and it is considered as unsold, then hindi po siya pwedeng ang tawag dito, hindi po siya pwedeng tanggalin sa seller's inventory since gaya ng usual na concept sa selling natin, kung wala naman customer specific segregated goods to, then it will be part of our usual inventory. Okay? So make sure na tignan nyo ha, it should be customer specified, kaya mo sinegregate yung goods na yon. Okay? To be excluded from the seller's inventory. Okay? Are you clear on that? Okay? Next would be the concept of goods with refund offers. Diba? Typical naman po sa atin, no, na pag tayo po ay nagbebenta ng product, just let's say for example sa SM, diba? Kapag kayo po ay bumili sa SM, there are around 7 days, no, to refund the product or return the product. No? So whenever you have a refund offers, make sure na isipin niyo that the refund offers is somehow ano lang yan, parang additional security lang on the part of the buyer. And thus, still at the time that we have sold the product, no, it implies that we will be recording the revenue already. Thus, it should be removed from our inventory. Okay, so kahit sabihin sa SM na it has 7 days no na replacement or warranty period, then still already considered as sold ni SM. Okay, kasi the possibilities naman for return are possible, no? Pero again, what will just happen kung binalik mo yon is either repair or papalitan lang din naman nila. But take note that again, no, ulit-ulit tayo pag may refund offers, na it should be removed already in the inventory since we have already recognized the revenue. Okay? So any questions or clarifications? Again, if you have questions, please let me know on our chat box. Okay? Konti na lang guys. No, last slide for the theory discussion. Then we will now proceed with our examples. Okay? So another would be goods held by customer on approval or even goods held by others for storage. So sabi po dito, no, it should be shown as part of the ending inventory of the enterprise that economically controls the goods. Okay, so ibig sabihin kapag on approval, no, halimbawa may product kayo na pabango, for example, okay, you are babango talaga eh, no? Hindi, ano na lang, let's say aircon, no? For customer approval, no, hindi pa naman niya binili, kumbaga titest niya muna, you have given 7 days, no, for testing, and then after 7 days, no, the customer will now determine kung bibili niya ba or hindi. Now, if ever that it is still subject to approval of customers, then whoever has the control, ang sagot po is still the seller, no, the original seller, we, no, the manufacturer, or even kung tayo man po ay merchandiser ng product na yon na pinapa-approve pa natin sa customer yung product, we should record that inventory. Okay? Until such time na mag-agree na si customer na bibilhin niya yung product. Okay? And then finally, we have also layaway plans and bill and hold sales. Okay? So this method of purchasing by a purchaser, parang nire-reserve niya po yung particular product na yon by paying any down payment amount. Okay? And then, i-claim niya po after full payment of balance. Okay? So, para nangyari, nagda-down payment tayo, hindi pa natin kinukuha, parang pinapa-reserve natin, no, nagda-down payment tayo, antayin lang na makapag-full payment. Now, under these circumstances, the revenue is recognized when customers obtains control over the product. That is when the following conditions are met. Okay? So ito po yung mga conditions na kailangan ma-met, no, para may considered po na of course it is already owned by the customer. First would be the product must have been identified separately as already belonging to the customer. Okay? Another would be the product must be ready for transfer to customer. And also, the entity does not have the ability to use the product or direct it to other customer. So, pag nag-down payment na po, and then you have identified, of course, pag nag-down payment, kapag sineparate na, wala na dun sa usual na viewing section ng selling company. Okay, and then sabi pa dito, ready na siya for transfer, no? Babalot na lang, and then hindi niya na maibibenta or hindi niya na ibinibenta yon, or wala na siyang ability to sell it to another customer, then ayun, no, the customer will now record that inventory. Okay? Are we clear on that? And then under the scheme naman, no, most likely if hindi pa po clear sa atin na there is an ability to direct it to another customer, okay, so or even hindi pa po na-meet yung mga 3 requirements natin kanina, then the seller will continue to include it in the goods sa inventories. So kapag sinabi lang sa problem, no, layaway plan, okay, nag-down payment lang, okay, tapos walang anything na sinabi dito, then we cannot assume otherwise na meron yan, kaya it's still the seller who will continue to record it. Pero pag sinabi na, okay, hindi na siya pwedeng maibenta sa iba, okay, sineparate na talaga siya, then it will be already the customer. Okay? So are we clear on that? All right. So again, if you have questions, please let me know lang po on our chat box. Okay? So the succeeding 3 slides will now discuss, no, some examples related to what we have discussed today and to summarize everything po, the concepts about the inclusions and exclusions for inventories. Okay, so let's start. Okay, we have here example number 1. So we have 19 items listed, and the question is how much is of these items would typically reported as inventory. So magkano daw po yung i-record na inventory? So let's find out. Okay, so tignan natin habang dinadaanan natin itong mga 19 items na to, i-classified na natin siya whether it's part of the inventories or not. Okay, so goods out on consignment at another company's store. So naka-out on consignment. So your clue is, di ba, sabi natin if the goods is under consignment, make sure na dapat tignan mo kung anong perspective ka, di ba? Are you the consignor or are you the consignee? Okay, ang sabi po dito is it is out on consignment. So tayo po yung nag-out on consignment, 'di ba? So ibig sabihin, sino po tayo? We are the consignor. Tama po ba? Okay, wait lang, asan yung cursor ko? Okay, we are the consignor. Okay, and thus since we are the consignor, then we will be recording this amount. Okay? Consignor ka kasi out on consignment. Ikaw yung nag-out on consignment. Are you clear on that? Okay, very good. Next would be goods sold in an installment basis. Remember guys that even though our products are being sold on an installment basis, no, hindi po ito yung layaway plan ha, installment basis, no, whether naka-credit card or even naka talagang installment plan siya, 12 months, 3 months, depending upon, no, it is already sold. Okay? So this 100,000 will be excluded from our inventory kasi considered na siya as sold. Okay? Next, number 3, goods purchased, FOB shipping point that are in transit, 1231. Okay, purchased, so tayo si buyer, FOB shipping point, sabi natin, the buyer should record that inventory and we are the buyer. So yes, kasama po yung 120,000. Okay? Next would be goods purchased. So tayo si buyer, FOB destination. Who owns the goods? It should be the seller, di ba? Tayo si buyer. So hindi po natin yan isasama. Okay? Next would be goods sold to another company, okay, which has signed an agreement to repurchase. Oh, repurchase agreement. Anong sabi natin kanina? Di ba? Under repurchase agreement, it should be recorded by whom? The seller. Okay, so sold na natin. So even though it is sold, okay, but it is under the agreement to repurchase, then it will be part still of our inventory as the seller. Okay, are we clear on that? Okay, next, goods sold where returns are predictable. Okay, so even though sabi natin kanina, there are refund offers, no, it is already considered as sold. So we are going to exclude this goods sold where large returns are predictable. Okay, next, goods sold. So tayo si seller, FOB shipping point. Who owns the goods? The buyer. Sino tayo? Seller. So hindi na po dapat kasama itong inventory na to. Next would be freight charges on goods purchased. Okay, so we will include this already, no? 80,000. Di naman sinabi kung whether FOB shipping point or destination. So generally, freight charges, no, on goods purchased, unless may indication kung anong shipping term siya, no, it will be recorded as our costs. Okay? Next would be factory labor costs incurred in goods still unsold. So factory labor costs, so part yan ng conversion cost natin. Okay, so part yan ng inventory. Next, interest costs incurred, okay, that are routinely manufactured. So remember, kanina in our exclusion, interest costs will not be part of our inventory. Okay? Next would be costs incurred to advertise. Oh, di ba? Part din ng exclusion yan, advertising expense yan. Materials on hand, not yet placed to production. So that's the raw materials inventory. So that's part of your inventory. Next, 13, office supplies natin. Okay, office. So it's not related to manufacturing. So that's other asset, no, not inventory. Next would be raw materials, okay, which are which at the company has started production but are not yet completely processed. So that's in progress, no? So kasama po yan sa inventory. Next, factory supplies. So factory supplies kanina, 'di ba? In our third definition of the inventory, so any materials or supplies used in the production will be part of our costs, no? So ayan. Inventory din po 'yan. Except lang yung office kasi that's other asset, not inventory. Okay? Goods held on consignment. Okay? Held on. So tayo po yung nag-held on, tayo yung nakatanggap. So from other company. So ano tayo dito? We are the consignee. Are we going to record ba if we are the consignee? Di ba? Hindi. Kasi consigned goods are owned by the consignor. Very good. Okay? So cost of identified with units completed but not yet sold. So hindi pa naman po nabibenta, hindi naman segregated. So this is part of the inventory. Next, goods sold, FOB destination. Okay, so 'di ba pag FOB destination, it should be owned by sino? The seller. Okay? Sold tayo si seller. Okay, at in transit pa rin siya at December 31, so we will include this in our inventory. Okay? And finally, temporary investment stocks and bonds that will be resold in the future. So it's not inventory, but rather that's a temporary investment. Okay? Depends upon, no? It could be an equity, itong stock, at saka yung bonds, it's a debt investment which we will be discussing in the future. Okay? So based on the items na nabanggit natin nakasama, so the total, no, inventory in this example is 2,300,000. Okay, you can recheck po kung tama po yung mga items na nabanggit natin, the goods out on consignment, the purchase under FOB shipping point, okay, signed agreement, no, agreement to repurchase, tapos freight charges, the factory labor costs, the materials on hand, the raw materials in progress, the factory supplies, the unsold goods at saka sold under FOB destination. So we have 2,300,000 for the merchandise inventory. Okay? Any questions or clarifications, guys? All right, very good. So again, if you have questions, please let me know on our respective chat boxes. Okay, so let's now proceed with another example. Okay, so the question here is, what is the correct amount of inventory that should be reported by GMMTV in its December 31, 2020 statement of financial position? Okay, so let us read the problem and then isa-isahin na rin po natin kung kasama ba siya or hindi. Okay, so GMMTV Merchandising Company reported inventory at 445,600. So ayan, no? May starting point tayo na inventory reported on December 31, 2020. You discovered that the inventory amount, among others, included the following. So itong mga 2, 4, 6, 7 na bullet na ito ay sinama raw po dito sa 445,600. Now, the question natin is, karapat dapat ba siyang kasama? Kasi kapag hindi, then alisin mo, 'di ba? Pag hindi siya karapat dapat, alisin mo na siya. Hugot no? Okay. Sige. So, we'll start, no? The first bullet, sabi po, goods costing 51,400 ordered by a customer. So, in-order daw ng customer. So, tayo si seller, di ba? Tayo si seller. Okay, nag-order daw si customer on December 27, 2020. Tapos, na-ship daw siya FOB destination. Oops, FOB destination. Sino bang owner nung FOB destination goods? It should be the seller. Sino ba tayo? Seller. Ano bang sabi pa? Okay, and received by the customer at their warehouse on January 5. So ibig sabihin, on December 31, 2020, the goods are still in transit. Tama ba? And it is under FOB shipping point. So it is required na dapat i-report lang yon ng seller. And we are the seller, kaya tama lang na sinama natin yon sa inventory. Okay? So we will ignore this. Okay? Ignore mo lang, kagaya ni Crush. Hindi, joke lang. Okay? You just simply ignore it, no? Kasi naisama na siya sa inventory. Okay? At dapat naman talaga siyang maisama. Okay? Next, goods costing 24,800 on December 25, 2020. Ship to. Okay? Ship to. So, sino tayo? GMMTV. We are the buyer. Tayo si buyer, tapos sabi daw FOB destination. Who owns the goods? 'Di ba? The seller. Kailan ba natin na-receive? January 2. So at the end of the reporting period, December 31, 2020, it should still be recorded by the seller. And we, the buyer, should not include it. Kaya since nakasama siya, ang gagawin natin mamaya is we need to reduce our inventory by 24,800. Okay? Are we clear on that? All right, very good. Next, goods costing 21,300 held on consignment. So na-held natin on consignment. This is a clue natin para kanino. Pag held on consignment yon, ang ibig sabihin tayo si consignee. 'Di ba? Tayo si consignee kasi tayo nag-held on consignment. So in this case, no, since we have held it on consignment and as the consignee, we should not report it as inventory. So ang gagawin natin mamaya, we need to deduct the amount of 21,350 since it's held on consignment and the consignor needs to record that. Okay? Next, fourth bullet, goods costing 12,400 ordered from a supplier. So tayo si buyer kasi in-order daw natin. Tapos ang sabi, it was shipped FOB shipping point but not received by December 31. So FOB shipping point, who owns the goods? The buyer. Sino tayo? The buyer kasi in-order daw natin yon. Thus, tama lang po, nakasama siya sa inventory. So what we're going to do here in this fourth bullet is we just simply ignore it. Okay? Next, 5, goods costing 31,500 shipped by a vendor. Okay, so by a vendor ulit. So tayo ulit si buyer, di ba? FOB seller. Okay, FOB seller. And then, December 31, 2020, received by GMMTB on January 5. Ano ba FOB seller natin kanina? Hindi ba FOB seller is also synonymous to FOB shipping point, di ba? Okay? So, who owns the goods? The buyer. Sino ba tayo? The buyer. Kasi shipped by the vendor yung clue. So, that means that 31,500 is considered pa rin as our inventory and tama lang po na sinama natin yon kasi we are the buyer under FOB seller perspective. So, we just simply ignore this amount, no, for our computation. Okay? Next, second to the last bullet, goods costing 22,500 which was shipped FOB destination to a customer. So tayo si seller, okay, FOB destination. Okay, the goods are still in transit and it is expected to be received on January 5 pa by the customer. So we are the seller, FOB destinations, so we should record that inventory. Sinama na natin sa inventory, kaya hindi na po natin siya papakailaman, simply ignore it na lang. Okay? And finally, the last bullet, no, goods costing 50,000 shipped by a vendor. Okay, vendor. So tayo si buyer niyan. FOB shipping point. Okay, so FOB shipping point. FOB destination. So sino yung nagmamayari? Yung seller dapat, no? The invoice was received on December 31. Ni-record daw natin on December 31. Pero the goods were received on January 4. So sinama natin yung 50,000 na yon sa amount ng inventory natin. But since it is FOB destination, okay, it should be owned by the seller. So ang gagawin natin is we need to deduct the amount from our inventory. Okay? So may tatlo tayong i-deduct, no? Yung second, third, at saka yung last bullet. Okay? So the amount of our inventory, okay? So yung na-report po on December 31, okay, na 445,600, deduct yung second bullet na purchase under FOB destination, then the third bullet na held on consignment, at saka yung purchase then under FOB destination. Kaya ang correct amount ng inventory to be reported on December 31, 2020 is 349,450. Okay? So are we clear on that, guys? Any questions or clarifications? Again, please let me know on our respective chat boxes or even comment your questions to this video. Okay? So that's our second example. Okay? So next, okay? So you have been assigned to compute the correct balance again of the inventory, okay, for the year ended December 31, 2019. Okay, so magkano ulit yung inventory? So let's find out. No? So first, okay, items counted in the warehouse. Okay, 32,000 damaged and unsellable goods. Okay, so we have a 4 million inventory in the warehouse, but 32,000 is already damaged. So if ever that inventory is damaged already and unsellable, then that's already considered as a loss natin, di ba? So ibig sabihin, mamaya we will be deducting the 32,000 from the 4 million. Okay? Also, items included in the count, okay, itong count in the warehouse daw, specifically segregated per sales contract. So meron tayong segregated goods na. And anong sabi natin? If it is segregated goods, then customer will already record that. Tama ba? So mamaya yung 80,000, it will also be deducted from the 4 million. Tandaan niyo ha, mamaya yung 32,000 at saka 80,000 na segregated goods, no, ibabawas natin sa 4 million na physical count. Okay? Then next, we have goods held on consignment. So held on consignment daw, hindi ba? Ano bang gagawin natin doon? Kasama ba? Hindi. Hindi. Bakit? Kasi tayo si consignee. Since it is held on consignment, consignee tayo. So we will ignore this since it should be recorded by the consignor. Okay? Next, items in receiving department returned by customers in good condition. So nagkaroon po ng benta tayo, no? Nagbenta tayo, tapos binalik ni customer sa atin. In good condition pa naman yung 60,000. So it will be part of our inventory. Okay? Then, goods out on consignment. Out on consignment. So sino tayo? We are the consignor. Okay? So the cost is 150,000 at ito lang po yung isasama natin ha, not the selling price. Kasi yung 200,000 is selling price. Okay? So kasama po sa inventory natin yung consigned goods. Next, items ordered and in receiving department, invoice not yet received. Okay? So meron po tayong na-receive na inventory. Okay? At hindi pa po na-receive yung invoice but we know already the amount, thus we record it as inventory natin. Okay? Then, next, no? Items ordered, invoice received, but goods not yet received. Okay? Freight paid by the buyer. Okay? So, since freight was paid by the buyer, malamang sa malamang baka ito ay FOB shipping point, di ba? And it is still in transit kasi the goods were not yet received. Thus, in those premises, we can include this already in our inventory. Okay? Next, items on counter for sale. So, display po natin to. Still inventory pa rin po, 150,000. Items in receiving department refused by the entity because of damage. So, since it is damage, no, inventory, malamang ibabalik natin yan and we should not include that in our inventory. Okay? Next, items in the shipping department. So, hindi pa naman po siya na-ship, nasa shipping department pa. So still, the control or ownership ay sa atin pa rin. So added yan 220,000. Then we have item shipped today, invoice mail, FOB shipping point. Tayo si seller, di ba? Tapos FOB shipping point yon. So it should already be owned by the buyer. So tanggalin na yan. Also, we have the item shipped today, no? FOB destination, so tayo si seller, and under FOB destination, it should be recorded by the seller. So kasama po yan 25,000 na yan. And lastly, items currently being used for window display. Kanina, nasa counter. Ito naman, window. So still, that's a display and it is available for sale natin. Okay, that's why that's also part of our inventories. So considering those items, okay, so for the items in bodega na tinanggal po natin yung damaged and unsellable goods at saka yung segregated contract, it should be 3,888,000. Then yung receiving department na return ng customer, which is in good condition, added. Yung goods out on consignment, okay, tayo si consignor, and the cost was 150,000. So yun po yung isasama natin sa inventory. Then the items ordered, no, invoice was not yet received, and nasa receiving department na rin, so kasama kanina yon. Then also the presumed to be inventory because the freight was paid by the buyer. kay 100,000. Also the counter inventories at saka yung nasa shipping department pa. Also the FOB destination in transit goods at saka yung window display. So total, we have 4,636,000 for the correct balance of our inventories. Okay? Any questions or clarifications? You can recheck this, okay? So again, if you have questions, please let me know on our respective chat boxes. All right? So we're now down to our last example, okay? So here is our last example. And again, the question was, magkano raw po yung correct ending merchandise inventory on December 31, 2020, okay? For Uniqlo Clothing Company. Okay. So the Uniqlo Clothing Company, a wholesaler, okay, made a physical count of its merchandise inventory on December 31, and the cost of the ending inventory based on the physical count was determined to be 990,000. So yun po yung physical count. Now, the following events and transactions were not considered unless indicated otherwise. So titignan natin kung hindi pa siya kasama dun sa 990 at kailangan siya isama, then you add it. Pag naisama siya pero hindi dapat, then we deduct it. Okay? So we have 5 bullets and let's try to read them one by one and check kung i-consider ba natin or hindi. Okay? So let's start. Merchandise with a cost of 9,000 was ordered by Gandaka, so which is Gandaka Store, the buyer, tayo si seller, on December 2020. The merchandise was shipped FOB destination. FOB shipping point. Okay, and arrived to Gandaka on January 3. The transaction was already recorded. So na-record na daw, of course, kung na-record yan, ibig sabihin may sales na. Tama ba? And FOB shipping point naman, 'di ba? So si buyer na dapat ang mag-record. Nasama ba siya sa physical count? Of course, hindi, 'di ba? Kasi ang physical count is dapat present yung product. Ito nasa process na ng delivery. So wala na po dun sa warehouse, okay, which means that we will just simply ignore this one kasi na-record na siya ng tama, at the same time hindi naman siya naisama sa physical count. Okay? Next, second bullet. Uniqlo purchased goods, so tayo si buyer, from Thai Clothing Company with a cost of 80,000. Okay? And then, the merchandise has been shipped and FOB destination, okay, and received by Uniqlo on January 5. The goods were not included in physical count. Okay, tayo si buyer, it was under FOB shipping point, so we should ignore it kasi it should be recorded by the seller. So we should simply ignore this 80,000 na hindi naman po nakasama sa 990,000 na physical count. Okay? Next, no, merchandise with a cost of 45,000 was shipped to Uniqlo. So tayo si buyer, 'di ba? By a train FOB destination daw. The train arrived on December 31. Oh, so nasa destination na pala, naka Uniqlo na ng December 31. But sabi dito, merchandise was delivered to Uniqlo's warehouse but was unloaded. So nandun lang siya sa train, no? And it was not included in the physical count. Remember that even though it is FOB destination, nakarating naman po yung product on December 31. So since nasa destination na siya, it should be recorded by Uniqlo even if hindi pa yun na-unload. Okay? So pagmamay-ari niya na kasi dumating na sa destination. Okay? So we will add this in our 990,000, no? Yung 45,000 na inventory. Okay? Next, second to the last bullet, sabi po dito, as of December 31, 2020, Uniqlo had merchandise out on consignment. So tayo po si consignor. So tayo dapat mag-record nitong consigned goods na 54,000 kasi tayo po si consignor. Okay, the shipping cost of the goods consigned was 600 pesos. Okay, remember, no, I forgot to mention this a while ago, just in case that there would be transportation costs in terms of consigned goods, in reference to the discussion kanina that any handling fee will be added to the cost of inventory, no, ito pong shipping cost na nagastos natin para dalhin yung item doon kay consignee, okay, will also be added. Kaya for this last bullet, no, ang i-add natin sa inventory po natin ay 54,600, no? Again, the shipping cost for the consigned goods. Not necessarily na selling expense yan ha, kasi nga po, that is to arrive on the consignee's part, no? Pero kapag ang nagbayad tayo ng kapag ultimately ibebenta na natin, then that's selling expense. Okay? Ito hindi pa. Okay, so 54,600 ang i-add natin for this second to the last bullet. And finally, no, on the last bullet, sabi po, on December 30, Uniqlo had sent men's suit and slack with a selling price of 93,500. Take note, selling price ito ha, to various customers on approval. Ano ba sabi natin kanina? Goods or that are subject to customer approval should be recorded by the seller pa rin, di ba? Tapos sabi dito, the sale was recorded on the same date. So mali, no? Mali yung ginawa ni company na ni-record niya na siya as sales kasi it is still on approval, di ba? This merchandise was marked up 25% based on costs. So kailangan natin mahanap yung cost nito, and since it is based on cost daw, so what we need to do, okay, I'll show you already the computation. Okay, so for the merchandise subject to approval, yung 93,500, i-divide mo lang by 25%, or that would be the 100%, which is the cost, no, plus the 25% na markup, kaya 125%, para makuha natin yung 100%, which is referring to the cost, no? So more of it will be discussed in the gross profit method natin na discussion here in this inventory, yung percentages na yan. But in this case, once we divide it by 125%, ang cost na lang po ng merchandise for approval was 74,800. Okay? So ang kasama po sa inventory natin ay yung physical count, yung purchased under FOB destination na hindi po na unload, yung goods out on consignment, at saka yung merchandise for approval. Okay? So which give us the correct ending inventory of 1,164,400. Okay? So I hope na may natutunan kayo no with this discussion, and I hope that this, for examples, help you to analyze whatever we have discussed in the theory discussion po natin. Okay? So with that, no, this is the end of this video lecture. Okay, so thank you very much for attending, and do not forget to watch the subsequent videos about inventories. Okay, so remember that inventories, okay, initially should be recorded at costs. Okay, so this is again your instructor, Noel Bergonia, and I hope na you are safe and study harder. No, so I'll see you all on our next video, okay, related to inventory. Okay, stay safe and God bless everyone. Kamsahamnida. Kamsahamnida. Sayonara. Bye-bye. Thank you.